Oh.
Yeah, dude, I think I need a swig. Give me ass and titties.
Give me ass and titties. How you doing, folks? It's your host here, Sean Moore, with our other host,
Jake Sevens, yeah.
The Young Americans, episode 1. Today, just gonna be talking what's going on in the news. You know what we've seen.
Got a couple
some interests.
topics.
Got a couple topics lined up. Got some articles that we're probably gonna be going over.
Absolutely.
Just give you our thoughts, opinions, what we think. Maybe if you agree, you agree. If you don't, you don't.
Disagree, maybe we can have a, some discord in the chat. Just peaceful, of
Yeah,
course.
as always,
we're not trying to invoke anything,
Also, looking to have guests on, so if you agree or disagree, let us know. We'll leave an email down that you can hit up. It'll be our business email, and you can line up time to come over and see and talk to us. But how you doing today, bro?
Oh, I'm doing good. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm not doing too bad. Great 4th of July yesterday.
Yeah, except for Chicago. I heard there was 67 shootings over the weekend, and at least 13 dead, including a 7-year-old girl and a 14-year-old boy.
See, that's just disgusting. I mean, I don't get how, like, the states and these cities with these worst gun laws, I mean, like New York City included, whenever you have the most strict gun laws, for whatever reason, your cases of gun violence go up.
Yeah.
I don't see the support in the argument that gun laws take away guns, because it doesn't take away guns from bad people. It just takes them away from good people.
Exactly.
It takes away from people who need them to defend themselves and their property, such as
All the McCloskys and stuff, dude. Like, I don't know if
all right. You gotta start us off with this. Let's hear the scoop on this.
So the McCloskys, they live in St. Louis, right? And so they live in a gated community, a gated private community, and a group of like 100 or more protesters broke through the gate. Not the gate wasn't broken at first; it was open, but the gate sometime throughout that time got destroyed. And they were on their property. The McCloskys said that they were yelling that they were going to burn the house down, that they were going to kill them, and they were trying to actually, they were like talking about what rooms they were going to live in. Yeah.
After they killed them, yes.
And yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy, and I think they're actually
being investigated now.
Yeah, I think they are being investigated, bro. That's what I was going to say.
Here, let's look some stuff up here. Let's get a quick article on.
Yeah, sure, bro. But like, I think it's kind of ridiculous. It shouldn't even be an issue, because I mean, no shots were fired at all. They were on their porch with guns. Yes, they were pointing at them, but they had a reason to. At that point, there shouldn't be 200 something people that don't live there in your neighborhood, just shouting things at you, especially at the house you built. You've been building for 32 years, I believe you said in the interview with
Yeah, I mean, I got this article here from Yahoo News. It's by I don't see any credit here for who wrote it, but it's up here. Basically, and it's just reviewing different videos and interviews that Mark McCloskys had on CNN, Fox. So basically, he was explaining all these people were doing was domestic terrorism. I mean, what is the definition of terrorism?
I mean, I believe it's a mass or a group of people using...
It's use violation and intimidation to frighten the public.
Yeah, I was getting there.
But when you break into a private neighborhood that's gated off, so let's put it this way. Whether or not you want to agree with rich people deserve what they want. Everyone has basic rights. If something is completely private property, what gives the right of an angry mob to break in and vandalize a private neighborhood?
Nothing really. And I believe their justification was that they were going to the mayor's house or something.
Yes,
and
which
is it's not even close by. I believe it's 2 miles west. I believe,
or north. I think one of
the two. Maybe northwest. But yeah, it's 2 miles. You can't even get to her house through that neighborhood. So I mean, what else was this guy to think? And also, he was saying that the leaders of the movement, I can't remember exactly what the organization was called, but he said that they were tweeting out before that they did not want this to be a peaceful protest. That they were looking to can't think of the word.
They were looking to cause as much disruption and violence to be out of the norm. They want to be noticed, which isn't the right way to do things. And McCloskys' lawyer, his attorney, I mean, I don't know what he is. His client, he said he was like a member of a council. I don't necessarily know exactly what this guy is. His lawyer, I guess, something like that. He's basically explaining there's two conversations we have to have.
Yeah.
As white people, we have to understand the message.
And I think a lot of people do.
And everyone, not just white people, but black people as well.
I think it's
white, black, yellow, purple, green. It doesn't matter. You got to understand the message, because it's not just about black lives, it's about all lives. And I'm not going to say all lives matter, because that's included in Black Lives Matter. I'm not going to try and step on that, but basically what he's saying, the other conversation that we have to have is we all have basic rights as humans. To be safe, secure, liberty, prosperity, freedom, and the pursuit of happiness.
Absolutely.
So it's just, that's what being and living in America is. And if you can't have the latter of the two, no matter what's going on, you don't have civility, you have anarchy. And it rings home with me. I don't know about you, but I mean, when you're really thinking about that, that's really, it's a strong message, because yeah, it's not one side or the other, it's both sides. I mean, yeah, I mean, I know you know, as more, probably better than most people.
Naturally.
And so I know that you get that. I know that you love everyone, dude. You don't care who someone is.
Exactly. And I think that's true for most of America.
I'd say that is true for most.
I think it's I think that the message of Black Lives Matter is very important, and I think that of course black people matter. Like I can't think of anybody that I talk to that has another, like, who says that black people don't matter? Like, I mean, I get that there's cases across the globe. I get it.
You and I, we live up north in the United States.
Exactly.
We live more up north. It's more of a, I'd say it's more of a democratic, leaning area.
Sure.
I mean, more liberal viewpoints, but I'd say we lean a little bit more conservative. But socially, I'd say very few. I could count on one hand the amount of true racists that I've actually met.
Exactly. I think
in my whole life,
we've moved to more of this PC culture. And when there is racism, I think that it's good to put a spotlight on it. And I think a lot of people would come behind you and say that's not okay. And that's exactly what happened with George Floyd. That guy got what he deserves. And I think that we really I think we need to look at it as more, we're individuals. It's not as, white people, as black people, as anything like that. We're individuals, and I think we need to look at each other as such.
Absolutely, yeah.
I think it's just, yeah.
But, I mean, that's basically what's going on with the McCloskys family. They are being investigated now, and essentially it's a pretty weird story. Again, you can agree, you can disagree. I mean, you can watch the video for yourself. I mean, what I see in the video personally is a husband and wife at a nice house that is extremely valuable, and I see multiple angry protesters attempting to intimidate them. In the video, you can hear drums being beaten.
It sounds tribal.
You can hear people walking onto their property, walking off of their property. It's just, you can see it, and it's, if I was there, if I had a wife at a nice house that I spent my life working for, and I see this group of angry people coming into my gated private community, walking on and off my property, using tactics to intimidate me, and I had firearms, if I didn't grab them, I should be in a mental hospital because I'm not thinking clearly. I don't know who wouldn't.
If there's people on my lawn yelling things at me and trying to incite violence on me and my family, there's no reason why I can't stand on my porch with my firearm, just in case. Because at that point you have the right, if they were to invoke violence, if they were to incite it, then you have the right to discharge that firearm. But especially on your own private property. But I mean, there was no discharge of a weapon there at all. They were just merely standing there as a presence, just to make sure that they knew that they were out of their right to be in that area. and I think that's well within their right to exercise that within the Second Amendment.
I mean, you know, I don't get it. It's just a false narrative, I believe.
I think it is. I think it's just a narrative because you see this topic and everything come about around every 2 to 4 years during midterms and elections.
Yeah, it's
just pushing a narrative just to try and get people to vote a certain way towards the election. Just to I'm sorry, but six months ago nobody walked by Columbus statue and thought it was racist. I'm sorry. Nobody.
Yeah.
We're learning about it in schools. He's revered. Up until, I guess, 2 months ago, now we're pulling down a statue. I don't understand.
Yeah, so, and then at this point, basically, what the Democratic Party is doing with this is terrifying.
It is.
They are following the same exact procedures that Nazi Germany did in the 1940s.
I think it's...
In late 1930s. It is the exact same. They are suppressing history. They're segmenting a group of people, which is the police.
Defund the police.
They're demonizing them. They're taking away from them, grouping them all into one group. Because what's the main message from the Democrats? You can't put everyone in one basket. So how are you going to group one group of people together? Because listen, there are very, very bad cops out there. And it's been clear. If you watch that George Floyd video, that's murder. I don't care who you are, that's murder.
That's 100% murder, and
it's disgusting. They had a previous past, and that should not just be it shouldn't be second degree murder.
When you're laying on the ground for 8 minutes screaming for your dead mother, there's no question, but that's murder. Like, there's no way, and that should have been a unifying moment for the country. That should have been we get behind this. We can get behind this together as a country and stand against this. But the Democrats, I believe, have they've taken this pretty noble movement, against police brutality, and it doesn't happen all that much. I don't believe cops are targeting.
No, absolutely not.
I could be wrong in the statistic, but I believe there's 44 million black people in the United States right now, and 9 were killed unarmed last year. Now, 9 unarmed is too many, but I believe those cops should go to jail, go to prison for murder, of course.
Absolutely. And again,
through due process. Of course, and there's no reason
now,
why
here's
you
the
can't
one
get
thing.
behind that.
If they want to try and reform the way the police works,
I'm totally behind that.
I'm behind on that because you know what? If there is a cop and there's a complaint, and if they were to shoot someone, they don't go into a normal system of law. They are reviewed by themselves within the police department. So basically, they take care of themselves. I don't agree with that. I think that's something that has to be changed 110%. Other than that, I mean, if you look at the training that police are actually recommended to do, it's disgusting. It's a couple of weeks.
It's
for a career. Yeah. You go for 8 weeks. I mean, it's like...
It takes more time to be a master barber than it does to become a police officer.
Yes.
And I do have a problem with that.
The hardest job in the world.
Exactly.
Now more than ever.
Yeah.
So how about not defund the police? How about let's increase funding? Let's give them
more training.
A significant, very... hard training program, similar to like Navy SEALs, like BUDS training.
Exactly.
A 6-7 month process that puts you through a physical and mental ringer that makes sure that you are mentally and physically fit. And they test you in and out, and not only that, they should be tested every couple of years or so to make sure they're still physically and mentally fit.
Oh no, I think more than that.
You go through a lot of stuff.
I think actually more than that, because right now they only have to do maybe like every 6 months, like a 4-hour close quarter combat course. That's it. And I think like at least once a month, or at least every 2 months, you should be going to a class, for like a whole week on that stuff to really refresh yourself. Because when you think about it, that's a whole lot of the reason why police have to use their firearms in a lot of these cases, because they're not.
They don't know. They're not.
When someone puts their hands on you in a situation like that, your adrenaline's pumping. And if you don't have the skills to take him down...
Yeah, and especially after going through situations like that on a day-in, day-out basis, especially... I mean, and you see it a lot more on these inner cities, but you have to keep in mind, if you're a police officer, even before all this stuff happened, if you have to see people dead, if you have to go on calls and you don't know what's going to happen, even during a traffic stop, someone looks a little bit shady and you don't know what they're going to do to you...
Exactly, yeah.
That's scary, and that builds up over time, and that's why they need
especially
to be
with normal
mentally
people
trained, especially not just physically. I feel they need to be more mentally trained and capable to handle situations.
Imagine in 8 weeks having to go get on a call that says, yo, you need to go to this domestic dispute right now at this house, and this guy pulls a gun on you. You were a civilian 8 weeks ago. You think you have the right training for that in 8 weeks?
And keep in mind how many young kids get into that.
Exactly.
Kids in their early 20s, young, guys or girls or whoever you are. You go into that 8 weeks ago. Maybe you got out of college, maybe you're just out of high school. You go into the police academy, and you do whatever you have to do. It wasn't too long ago that you were just a kid. And they have to go through that.
Exactly.
They have to go through that, never knowing what's going to happen and doing your best. But they were like, basically, good luck, figure it out. Yeah. That's not the right way to do it. You got to train them the right way. I think that the whole defund the police is not the right way. Maybe our message is the same thing, but I'm just saying it in a different, more logical way. Yeah. But if you defund and you take away the one thing that is there to protect you from other people and yourself, now, it's kind of hard to, get on board with that argument, but if you want to increase funding, increase training, make sure that you have more qualified individuals, because if you defund the police, how are we going to pay more qualified people to do it if you're not giving them more money?
No, you're going to have a person who's less qualified for the job, less mentally fit, less mentally fit, less mentally well, and you're going to have them with access to guns, less equipment that they need, and you're going to have more bad cops and more violence because there's less people who want to do this job, especially now. Yeah. And I think it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous because there needs to be more training, more de-escalation training, so that they can, they don't have to discharge their weapon at all, if they don't have to, and then they know how to handle those situations. Yeah.
But when they don't have the training to understand what's happening and they don't understand how to de-escalate, if you just get thrown into something like that, more often than not, if you weren't trained the right way de-escalation tactics, you're not going to know how to do it the right way. So what's your scapegoat? I have power over you. I am the law over you. I'm enforcing the law on you. So they always fall back on that, and that's when that happens. That's when situations go up. Mm-hmm. It's not good, and
exactly, yeah.
They
start to realize, like I was watching, I think it was on the Joe Rogan podcast, there was a Navy SEAL on the thing, and he says that he trains, I believe it was
Jocko Willink.
Yeah, I believe he trains like 18 months for a 6-month mission or something like that. Yeah. Or something crazy like that. Like he trains 3/4 more, his time is split into 4s, 3/4 of the time he's training for 1/4 mission. Yeah. That is, he knows exactly what he's doing, right? And with de-escalation training and all this for the cops, they're going to realize that the most helpful situation when you go up to somebody like who's on the street or anything like that, or in a traffic stop, you just go, "Hey man, what's going on?" Instead of, "I'm the law. What are you doing here? What are you doing?" And they get scared because they don't know how to handle that situation. But when you're put in a room and you have to, be put through these drills, especially more than 8 weeks,
day in, day out,
and you get put through these drills. Then you realize the best way to handle all these situations like that, and then police violence goes down, and all these other things. And by defunding the police, you're getting an inverse effect, or whatever the word is, inverse effect, right?
Something like that.
Yeah, it's fucking opposite. So you're gonna get more police violence, more violence in the inner cities. Like I was saying in Chicago earlier, there's an 83% increase in murder. The murder rate is 83% higher than the same time last year. Right now.
Yeah, it's
insane.
It's sad. It's basically, I think a lot of people are trying to take advantage of a message that means a lot and that's very powerful, and they're using it for their own benefit.
Exactly.
But you also have to keep in mind, think about how charged up all these young individuals were not being able to work for 3 months, and then this happens, and they're like, "Oh." Yeah. I think that,
and you have the masks, so you're
exactly. So I feel that the peaceful protesting was the message, and those looters, they can't be kind of
the looting was wrong. The looting
was absolutely wrong. It was disgusting. And you can't group them in the same message, but they have to be.
No. There's liberals, and then there's the hardcore left. There's the hardcore leftists. Exactly. There's the alt left.
And if you're gonna look at this,
just like there's the conservatives, and then there's the alt right. Hold on.
one second. I gotta get this message out because this is just facts. There's no way that you're going to tell me going and looting the opportunities for your community to benefit your community, to become better as one, is going to get better by looting and destroying those opportunities.
Absolutely not.
That is the complete wrong thing to do.
And a lot of these lootings and destructions and arsons of these buildings were black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
Which makes no sense to me. I mean, I'm completely for the message of all this, but like they're contradicting themselves. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they're doing. Like it's just mob mentality. It's just, oh, I'm riled up, but I don't know that much about this. Now, I'm not saying that I know more than them or anything like that, but they don't know enough about what they're protesting about to do this. They're like, oh yeah, I'm angry.
They're just
and they get handed a sign and they go like this.
Mob mentality because everyone's doing it. It's the right thing to do, but it's not. I mean, it doesn't take that much logistical thinking. And again, I'm grateful we live away from a big enough area.
Slavery still exists in a lot of the world.
Yeah, it does.
Makes no sense. Makes no sense. This is the freest country in the whole world. People still come here. People still come here.
Looking for a better life.
Looking for a better life, and they get one. It makes no sense. And the Republicans as well.
No, hold on. If you've met anyone who's actually came from outside of this country to this country,
they're usually very successful.
Not only that, 9 out of 10 times, they are so grateful for this country, and they call America their home because they are so grateful for the opportunity that it's gave them. I can't even count the amount of people that I've met like that. So I work with people. I work with people from Russia. I work with people from Brazil. I work with people from everywhere. And they have some of the best work ethic that I know. No, they do. Because they're grateful for what they have.
And they're the best people that I know. And there's no reason why we can't have that, in a safe way where we vet people who come in. And we just do that. But getting back to this defund the police, right? The Republicans actually went to go pass a bill that was for police reform. That gave about 80% of what the Democrats wanted for police reform, like total police reform. They would receive in this with 27 amendments they could make to the actual bill that they proposed. They blocked it. Didn't even discuss it. They blocked it.
I don't know.
We should be taking this time to reform the police, increase funding, talk about the actually important issues instead of cancel culture that we have.
Exactly.
Which I think is despicable.
Going on to social media now.
Exactly. And this Rayshard Brooks case, whether it was racial or not, whether it was whatever, right? Garrett Rolfe was the police officer involved in shooting Rayshard Brooks. And whether that was racial or not, whether that was awful or not, it's awful. A life was taken. That's awful. And he should be charged accordingly to whatever, what the situation was. But his stepmom got fired from her job.
So because she wanted to have a relationship with someone,
and their son did something,
and then not only her son, not only her biological son, her stepson does something, and she gets fired.
And that's going on across the country. Country.
I don't get it.
If you like a tweet that says anything about Trump or anything like that, you could be fired, and that's happened across the country. It's insane.
It's completely taking away from the First Amendment, right? And I think these social media companies need to make it clear whether they are a platform or a publisher.
Well, and a lot of it...
No, because if you are a publisher, you can decide what you want to put on. But if you're a platform, which is what all these companies, Facebook, YouTube, they are suppressing content from creators. And it's disgusting.
Suppressing their freedom of speech.
They are. So they are taking away their First Amendment right. If they say if they're a publisher, they can do that. But they're saying they're a platform. That's a completely different thing. That's dangerous.
It is.
That's breaking the law. That's taking away from people's constitutional rights, and it's not okay.
And we've been kind of skipping, checkers when you can skip over pieces. That's kind of what we've been doing with the law, in these days.
Exactly.
And we've kind of just been,
they're reading through the line.
Exactly.
They're picking and choosing when to apply it.
And I was reading earlier the other day that one of the conservative fucking Supreme Court judges, I believe he was going to replace Gorsuch. Gorsuch is in there. He was supposed to be a constitutionalist, so he's supposed to interpret the law as constitutionally as it is, and he was just he didn't even.
Oh, I know.
He's just completely just to to fucking soothe the mob, just to avoid backlash. Like we're at that point where the media, a lot of the media, if not all the mainstream media, is just a straight platform to push an agenda. That's it. Like it's insane. It's insane how biased and how swayed they make everything. It's pretty crazy when you look at it.
So I mean, like, moving on from this, I think we got a little bit deep into politics early on here.
A little bit.
Pardon. Cough. Now we're moving on to COVID.
Absolutely.
UFC 251. Gilbert Burns reports a positive test for COVID-19. What do you think about that? I mean, hey, the PGA's up again and soccer's up, but the UFC was the first to start.
Florida. They're still based in Florida.
No. So this was going to be in Fight Island in Abu Dhabi. So that new island here,
That's far away, man.
Yeah, it's all
in Dubai, right?
Yeah, but Gilbert Burns, the athletic commissions and whatnot, they tested him before to make sure.
Before the flight,
because they don't no COVID on Fight Island. So Gilbert Burns will not be there for UFC 251 on July 11th, I believe is the date. So
that's pretty crazy, though.
just look up where this is, Fight Island.
I mean, I think COVID it's definitely an issue. I think it's definitely an issue, but I think it's over publicized and it's over covered by the media.
Absolutely.
I think the infection rates are inflated. I'm not gonna lie.
No, I know. All right, so here, Fight Island is it's actually Yas Island in Abu Dhabi, a man-made island which the UFC has previously held events. So they've been building infrastructure in there. They're actually gonna have an octagon on the beach. I don't know if that's just for show. I know there's no way they're actually gonna have a fight there. Maybe they could, who knows, but so there's also talks for this fight, UFC 251, there's going to be 3 title fights. So the main event, it was Kamaru Usman, Gilbert Burns. Jorge Masvidal is in talks. So they call him Street Jesus, Street Judas, whatever you want to call him, the baptizer, everything. I mean, he's a thrill to watch inside and out.
That I can confirm.
But so he was supposed to fight for the title. I mean, everything was lined up. Dana was like, Jorge, he's in the picture. He deserves a shot. He was just asking for more money, this and that. Playing the game. I don't know what he was thinking. Maybe he was scared.
Yeah. You
hear that, Street Jesus? You're scared. He's not going to watch this, but I don't know. I think that's going to be interesting if they can actually make a deal because he was asking for a lot more money. But I heard about those NASCAR drivers, if you want to get back into that.
Well, not only NASCAR, but Formula 1. But, I mean, I did hear a story about, the new skate, I guess we can call it new skate, Bubba Watson over, I think it was a week ago or something. So there was like a pull string that resembled a noose. And so NASCAR, before like they had the FBI investigating it and everything like that. But then before the FBI could finish their investigation, they actually... we're tweeting out like, oh, it's a race. It's like hate crime. It's all this. It's race based. But you can see the FBI actually concluded it wasn't a race. It wasn't racist. It wasn't a hate crime. There's actually a picture from a year before where they're the same. It's just a pull string for the garage door. A year ago in the same garage, you can see it. You can look it up for yourself.
Yeah,
definitely. That's one thing we advocate for. Don't take everything we say as true. You have to look it up and be as unbiased as you can.
Absolutely.
And if you go look at Fox, go look at CNN right after. If you look at the New York Times, go look at Breitbart after. If you look at, what the hell is it? That new conservative, like we're not conservative, but it's like all like Daily Wire, all that, like Buzz or something.
What are you?
The Blaze. So if you look at the Blaze, go read the Huff. Just do that, and then you can pick out the biases of each side. And listen, something in the middle.
It's the classic argument. Every single story has 2 sides, and the truth is right somewhere in the middle.
And that's a little dangerous now with the media. Like, not to get on this again, but the media, it's so swung in each direction, and because it's mainstream, people take it like that. They eat it up.
They believe it as fact.
They don't look anything else up at all.
They don't think about.
And I think that's dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, they don't think is this company trying to shift my opinion by trying to report something in a light that looks just slightly different than it should? You know, just putting a slight bias into the way you say something, highlighting one area of something that's completely preposterous compared to what it truly is. I mean, and that's what is happening. And a lot of people don't see it, and I think people should actually start thinking and having a mind of their own. It's just kind of sad seeing, you know, especially our, you know, people our age, our generation, the young Americans. You know, the young Americans. They just, anything they see, whether it be social media, news stations, they don't want to look into it and actually learn about. Twitter.
Twitter's a big
Twitter
app.
especially, but they don't want to take the time
to double check, to fact check.
Double check.
It's called confirmation bias.
Exactly. And no one our age, I mean, not only our age, but I'd say nowadays everyone, they don't want to take time to actually look into a topic and learn about it. They just want to see headlines and read headlines.
Exactly.
But why are headlines headlines? They're there to make you want to look at it.
Exactly.
But when you have so many headlines here, and here, you're just hearing, oh, this person did this person did that, this happened, this is happening, oh my God, I'm going to freak out. Because it's just overstimulating you. Because you don't take the time to actually read and listen and look into it. You're just going off headlines. And that's basically what this generation is right now.
It is, and it's sad to see. And while we're on sports too, so I was talking a little bit about Formula 1. So I believe there's, give or take, 20 drivers who could be in Formula 1 at one time, because there's 10 teams and 2 drivers for each team. So there's 20 drivers in the whole world, different countries and everything, nationwide, you know, and they have 21-ish, I believe, races throughout the year. They go all around the world. So 6 of those drivers didn't take a knee at the Austrian Grand Prix for, I believe it was Black Lives Matter, the movement, before the race at the Austrian Grand Prix. And Lewis Hamilton, a black Formula 1 race driver for Mercedes, he spoke out after a little bit about it and how he felt about it. But a couple of their names, or the 6 who did not stand, were Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Charles Sainz, Kvyat Giovinazzi, and Kimi Räikkönen. So they didn't stand out, they kept standing instead of taking a knee. And I think they're well within the right to do that. I think that's a lot, the cancel culture, the mob mentality, saying they're wrong for a belief, even though that they have, you know, people who are kneeling have a belief of their own. And it's not that they're against black people for standing up. I believe they're just against what the movement has to say. Like, not on a pure Black Lives Matter, like, because they do, obviously, and everyone thinks that. Not everyone, but most of Americans, the good portion of Americans believe that Black Lives Matter. And you're not a good citizen, you're not a good person if you don't think that. Because who cares how much melatonin is in your skin, dude? Like, that's a non-issue for me. It's a non-issue for me. I literally do not give a shit, dude. Like, I base my opinion on you, of how you interact with me and how I interact with you and how we talk and how we have a good conversation.
Let's go back to Martin Luther. He dreamed of the day where people would judge you on your character and not the color of your skin.
And that's what I believe.
The message is that everyone is judging someone on the basis of their color and not character.
Exactly.
But I just don't think that's the case. What I think
I think that's why a lot of Americans are mad.
Again, and you know what? We don't live that life. We don't know it. I mean, just looking at the news, I know for a fact that they're nitpicking certain events and blowing them up, and they finally got a good enough string of events to make it something huge.
Yeah.
Maybe not. It's a great timing with the 2020 election months away.
COVID-19.
And COVID-19.
Kind of just slipped right in there under the radar.
I don't know. I don't live that life. But when I really look at it, the people I know and the people I'm around, I judge people off of their character, not the color of their skin.
Exactly.
I know great people of all colors and creeds. I know you do too, for a fact. And you went to school down in Virginia.
Virginia, exactly.
And you met a lot. The culture there was a lot different than up here.
Different, yeah. But I mean, I met a lot of good people, and a lot of people are not like that, in my opinion. And I think that's a lot of the reason why a lot of Americans are upset with the movement. It's not the message of the movement, because I think the message was Black Lives Matter when George Floyd happened. The whole country could get behind that, and I think that's why it was so big when it was. But then, just like what I was saying before, protesters, they don't really research into, not all of them, but a lot of people, it's that mob mentality. They hand you a sign and you just go. So they segued into that, into defund the police, into all this, without them even realizing what they were fighting for. It happened so quick, in a week. We had Chaz in Seattle. Are you kidding me? But I think the reason why a lot of Americans are mad is because the message now is that all of America is racist, especially if you're white.
Exactly.
And a lot of Americans aren't racist, who are white, and they don't agree with that at all. And I think it's not even at all about race. I think it's not at all about race. I think it's about culture.
I do. I think there's a lot of different changes that American culture right now needs to take and change. It's sad to see it's polarizing. Every side's trying to point fingers rather than trying to fix the issue.
Democrats and Republicans have just been going farther and farther.
And
it's not even
at this point.
It's a problem.
What we need is someone to come out, be like, listen, I'm running for president. I'm an independent because 90% of America, they're right here in the middle. You probably got there's a little spectrum of people on both sides.
Liberal, more conservative.
More liberal to more conservative. But 90% of people in this country believe and have more than likely the same values. There's certain, topics.
It's something we've lost.
Pro-life is one, taxes, stuff like this. Those will force someone to one side or the other. But the majority of values as a country and what the majority of these people feel, I'd say about 90%, if not more, believe more than likely the same things. There's just certain different topics that on one side or the other, and they get blown up, and that forces one person over here and then one person over here. But the majority of people are right there
to push a narrative.
I think people just got to be able to sit down,
have civil discourse, which we can't have.
Civil discourse. Get rid of the cancel culture. Let anyone who has to say something listen. If it offends you, don't watch it.
Exactly.
If it offends you to look at it, don't look at it. I'm sorry, but if you're going to sit there and say because something offends you, it has to be gone. Well, what about all the other people who have heritage? And I'm not getting into the Confederate, stuff like that. But I'm saying, what if there's something that brings you pride to yourself, but it offends someone else?
Exactly.
And it's not actually racist, like the Andrew Jackson statue. I'm sorry. Look at every other president before him owned slaves as well. So if you're going to sit there and you're going to call him a racist and that statue has to take down, what about George Washington? Yeah. What about everyone
which they want to take down? And Teddy Roosevelt and all that. And while we're on the topic of statues, I think it's just, I'll bring up Confederacy. I'll bring up the Confederate statues, because I think, it does offend a lot of people. And they have a right to be offended, at least with that stuff.
Yeah,
and you know what? You still have no right to fucking to tear down, graffiti it, do all that stuff.
No,
it's still someone else's property, not yours.
No.
If you want to petition, if you want to, use the democratic process to take down that statue, put it in a museum with a plaque that says this is bad, this is why we do this. I'm all for it. All for
exactly,
it.
But at the same time, you cannot destroy history.
You can't do that.
We learn from history, and that's again. I'm going to go back to what the Nazis did. They're following the same plan. They took away literature. They took away books.
They're taking over the media.
Yeah, they're taking over the media. Day by day. It's just a slow process, and it's sad because they're polarizing. They're increasing the polarization of everyone. And it's not going to end well if it continues down this path.
It's going towards socialism.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, are critical of capitalism and everything like that, but we don't even live in
we've
capitalism.
Never had real capitalism.
People are like, well, we're living in it now. We're living under crony capitalism. There's
so many
regulations and
everything. People
let's talk about student loans for a second, too. If the government didn't subsidize every student loan and bail out all these places, we would have so much money to put into other things. If the schools actually had to compete with each other for better degrees, for better prices, for better teachers instead of tenured professors, shit teachers, which I've all experienced in college as well. There's awful teachers there,
100%.
And they're there and they're getting paid
for nothing.
For nothing, really. I had to teach a teacher one time on photography because I like to take pictures and stuff. I literally had to correct her during class, while she was trying to teach this stuff, and she didn't want to accept it. And it's just are you kidding me? But if they didn't subsidize all these loans and everything like that, capitalism would take over that market, and they'd actually have to compete with each other. Same with healthcare. Healthcare, better coverage for lower rates.
Oh,
are you kidding me? You'd have lower rates, better coverage, because more people can be on those rates, and they'd have to actually compete with the
After
market.
Obamacare, do you want to know why rates went up, people? Anyone listening?
I'd love to know.
The reason why that happened, it took out all competition so you would have individual monopolies within states. So if you only have one option, what's the logistical thing for a company to do? Put rates up.
Same with raising the minimum wage, which I think is a stupid concept. Because let's think about this. If you've taken I've taken one economics class, and I can tell you the answer to this right now.
All right, listen.
I can tell you the answer to this right now, all right? If you increase the minimum wage by 2, if it's $7 to $15, guess what? They either hire less workers, or they increase their prices. And guess what? It's going to reach another equilibrium. The equilibrium was down here. Now it's up here. So guess what? It's the same fucking price.
By price fixing, you don't change equilibrium.
You literally don't change anything. It's going to equal out anyway. So it's either you have less jobs and higher prices for more people to buy, like whatever, or you just leave it where it is. And then you try and, actually implement a capitalist system and see how that actually works.
All right, look this way. Pre-COVID Trump's economy. Fantastic. Wages were increasing.
I think it was 3% for black people.
Hold on. Unemployment was lowest it ever was in recent history. Okay, wages went up. I mean, I don't know about everyone else watching this. The stock. Oh my God! If you have money if you had money in the stock market, booming. Is it recovering right now? Yes. Okay, so
I have money in Bitcoin myself, dude.
Well, Bitcoin. I mean, that's. Crypto.
That's different.
We'll get into crypto in a second. I mean, after this, we'll segue into that. But I mean, that economy was great, and that actually increased wages without forcing it upon business owners to find ways to pay that, such as, I'm selling milk for $2 a gallon. I have to pay my employees $12 an hour now rather than $10 an hour.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I'm going to make this gallon of milk $2.10. But that's going to happen to every single item in the store. So it's a percentage increase. I mean, it'd actually probably be 20% increase because it'd be a 20% increase. I mean, because equilibrium. But that's what happens. That or people get laid off. I mean, most business owners for a period of time will try to sustain and, not have to fire people or not have to increase prices. But long term, it always happens without fail. You cannot force a company to do something and not expect them to adapt.
Yeah.
Because the sad fact is, unless you're a giant corporation, you kind of operate month to month.
Yeah.
After COVID, look at all these mom and pop shops, like restaurants, small businesses, this and that they don't even have a dream of being able to open back up. Oh. They're gone. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's like, if you want to take that away from them and all other opportunity, I mean, that's up to you, but I think it's stupid.
Yeah, and when you look at, a lot of people are critical of trickle-down economics, right? But if you look at it, right, with this I think it's 50% tax rate on the top 1%. Or I think it's less than that. I think it might be 30-something% right now or whatever. But when you increase the tax rate to let's say 50%, 70%, which a lot of people want to do, you force these companies to put more money in offshore accounts, to not be able to have that money to pay more workers, to put their money, because they have it to themselves, to put it into actual investment into developing neighborhoods and shit like that,
exactly.
and put things there and create jobs. But because there's so much regulations and not tax cuts and taxes, then it
just takes away from people to make opportunity for everyone else in their society. But again, simple economics, people don't understand it. It's beyond my mind. Socialism doesn't work, never has, never will.
Yeah, and
I hope more young Americans can actually understand that, but it's beyond me. I don't know about you, but it's beyond me, buddy.
Absolutely. All right, we'll see a little break from all this, serious shit, right?
All right, let's take a step back.
Let's talk about J2157, and I know.
All right. So I hit this kid up, and I'm like, the other night, July 4th. Again, I'm sure we all had a long night. All right.
How was the buck moon, guys, on July 4th? Who watched that? Let's hear it.
The buck moon?
Yeah, the buck moon.
The buck moon? Is that what you and I were watching? All right.
Yeah,
so I walk outside with this kid. We got this full moon, and it's just got a ring around it. And I'm like, what the hell? Most of us didn't know where we were at 12:01 10 in the morning, okay? And you know what?
Naturally.
Neither did us. So, you know, we're out there looking at it, this and that, and I'm online just looking at space stuff late at night because I was having a great night. So, you know, I see this black hole. I'm like, Jake, we're all gonna die. This thing's eating one sun every single day. So, all right, give us the rundown on JT.
All right, so here it is, right? So it's a black hole. It's light years away, so guys, don't worry about it, right? But 34 billion times the mass of our sun, right? And the sun's pretty fucking big. All I gotta say, sun's pretty fucking big, and this is 34 billion times the mass of the sun. I'm pretty sure that's more than Donald Trump, his net worth.
That's more that's like half of Bill Gates.
Yeah, like that's a lot, but like
it's like a lot of
applied to
dollars
mass,
worth of,
but like multiplication.
Every dollar would be a sun.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Keep that in mind.
All right, and 8,000 times bigger than the black hole at the center of our universe, which is pretty big because it keeps that whole bitch spinning, you know. And it consumes at least one sun a day, like Sean was saying. So that's pretty damn cool, if you ask me.
I mean, like after reading the article and stuff, like I kind of looked into it, and they were like, I mean, they're now just seeing it, so they had to, like, what they're seeing now was observed from, like, almost at the beginning.
Probably the Hubble telescope, I would assume.
It could be. I mean,
if you guys don't know the Hubble telescope, you need to look it up. It's so cool. Like, you can see so far away on the Hubble telescope. They've taken some crazy pictures. It's gnarly.
All right, give us the rundown. Let's hear it.
All right, so the Hubble telescope, right? I mean, I don't know too much about it, but I know it's basically how we know so much about the universe because it's the most advanced telescope in like the world. Yeah, like it's pretty fucking insane. Like we can see things so far out, and some of the things are so distorted that I don't even know how they come up with like the names and shit and like classifications for this stuff. But you can just barely see it, it's crazy. But it's so far out, it's unimaginable.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude, but again, no worries, it's not coming to us.
Yeah,
I think that we can call this a wrap. Buddy, it's been a pretty good episode. Episode 1. The Young Americans, Sean Moore,
Jake Sevens.
We're out.